A gCADPlus user based in Ireland has developed a really interesting layout for a rear garden. I love the use of construction lines that run through it to provide good sight lines. And unfortunately, in his hands, the drawing's been misbehaving, gCADPlus crashing, shutting down. The original drawing, and I'll show that in a moment, was some 2 megabytes in size. When a drawing creates mischief, like this one has, it's always a good idea to go Tools and Purge Unused Objects. And when I did that, that removes blocks that might be sitting on the shelf that are not used in the design. And you can usually get those blocks again if you need them from somewhere else in your system. But I removed those and the file size dropped by 50%, which is a massive change. So far in my hands, now that it being the drawing is now behaving itself nicely. If I go to gCADPlus and show symbols with names, a lot of the symbols have been tagged. So that gives me a chance to push gCADPlus fairly heavily. So what we'll do is go gCADPlus and we'll draw a plant schedule. We'll choose the custom content one and we'll watch carefully down here in the command area to answer questions about how the schedule's going to be drawn. I want a very simple schedule. Do I want to include the plant symbols? Yes. Do I want red circle markers? No. Do I want to include these tall, medium and shrubs and so on? Do I want to include a code? I could, but I don't know enough about the plant database file that's attached here. I don't need a pot size. Yeah, I want the botanical name. Don't need the common name just yet in this test. And clearly we won't be printing the common name under the botanical name. Here's our text height. Now it's always a good idea to put your plant schedule well away from the design proper, and we'll input a corner point and we'll come down here for something like that and hope that we get a schedule drawn. Now we need to make it slightly, notice in here with a Chinese plumbago, it's a big long botanical name, so we can repeat the custom schedule and run through it again. I can just hit enter, 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 enter and wait till I get down to the height, and I need to make it a little bit wider. So the second corner of the text height. Ah dear, not watching my prompts well enough. Let's repeat it. Enter, enter. Get down to the height, enter, and that. Now I just need there, and I need to be a little bit wider, like so. And now the plant schedule works very well, except for this one here, which is an awfully long name. So one last try, and after all what I'm doing is testing things here. We'll right click, watching our prompts carefully and remembering to hit enter at this last point. So in order to fit it and make it look good, we need to do that. And now everything looks fine, so we can print things off. Now I've done a lot of testing there, and that's given the drawing quite a reasonable test. So I hope those simple tricks of just reducing, clearing blocks off via Tools, Purge Unused Objects. There's also a text shortcut, not a shortcut, but you can type the PURGEX command. Click first, PURGEX, and hit enter, and it gives me, there's a lot of blocks there. Each time you update the plant schedule, and I've done that 4 times, it increases the number of blocks. We'd hope at some stage in the future to automatically remove those blocks, but I don't think it's a terrible thing when you finish running the plant schedule to update in that way, and that's now cleared them off. But I think I'm relatively happy that I can send this drawing back to our user, and hopefully it will behave itself in his environment now that we've cleaned things up. I mentioned in that discussion that I would show the original design, and here it is unaltered, and its file size is 2402. So we've reduced that in the current one down to 940. So that's a really substantial reduction. So we'd suggest that the problem in this drawing is with a whole lot of blocks that are sitting in the drawing that are not yet being used, and removing those. So somewhere in that group must have been a block that is badly made or unusually made or made in some way that gCADPlus objects to it. But our user hopefully can now move on and finish the design, and I'd love to see the finished design when done.